and welcome to The Absurdist.
I'm Sarah Painter.
Is that what happens?
You usually say I'm Sarah Painter. I said it for you, but I'm not
I'm
you.
Hattie Eshelman.
We should just keep it like that.
Yeah. So I'm Hattie. I am a metalsmith and jeweler in rural Virginia. Lynchburg.
In Lynchburg, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And if I were Sarah Painter,
yeah,
which I actually, secret, I'm not, I would be a journalist and ethereal woodland person. No, you're not a woodland person. I'm the woodland person. You're like a princess.
Oh,
you're like a
you.
Disney princess.
Thank you.
Who, like,
I've been told I'm
sings to everything.
like a terrifying elf. You know,
a terrifying
like
elf
from Lord of the Rings.
Why?
Well, you know those guys I was friends with in college? They said that I was the like scary elf in Lord of the Rings.
And when you said terrifying,
yeah.
I was using different words. Okay, yes.
Okay, and they said it was a compliment, so...
Yes, it is. It is a compliment.
Yeah.
It's like a strength and power thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of like embodiment of just like pure feminine power that no one knows what to do with.
Thank you so much.
So.
That's my aspiration in life. Anyway, we should tell people what The Absurdist is.
Yeah. The Absurdist is a podcast where we look up things that are weird and interesting to us and share them with you. So, yeah.
Well, today we're going to be talking about San Francisco just got some creepy music.
Ooh. The wisdom of the Greeks.
A decade-long hunt for buried treasure.
My favorite condiment.
Gin gone wrong.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. And one of the most nutritious substances on Earth.
Ooh, I'm all about that. Every time I read an article that's like, this is the super food that's going to change your life, I'm like,
yes.
Okay, going to Amazon, ordering now.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm excited to share my first story with you.
Okay.
I got this from Huffington Post. So, people have been calling the San Francisco hotline with complaints of strange sounds on the Golden Gate Bridge.
Ooh.
So
strange, like haunted sounds?
Well, the sounds have been described as a whistle, a hum, a howl, or even a scream.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you think it is?
I think it's haunted. My brain immediately is like supernatural events.
Well,
because that's what we want to believe. Like it's not the most obvious answer. Okay, wait. Now I want to think of like an alternative scientific quote. I'm using air quotes. Scientifically explainable phenomenon. Okay, a whistle, a howl, on the go, but
a scream.
Humming. But when they can't see anyone else,
yeah, there's nobody.
They can't.
It's not another person.
Okay, I think that it is wildlife that is making human-like sounds.
No.
Okay.
It's
Tell
actually
me.
the bridge. So they recently had to do some construction on the bridge, and they put in siding on the bike path that when wind goes through it, it goes through these slats, and the bridge makes a terrifying noise.
Oh my gosh.
So I have found some examples, recordings that people put on Twitter that I thought that I thought I would play for everybody.
Please.
Okay, here we go. This is from, well, this was posted by a Mark Kruger. Here we go. This is riding on the bike path.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's what it sounds like on the bridge.
Okay.
It's almost like one of those, I can't think of the instrument name, but it's like...
It's like when you blow through the top of a bottle.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Here's a recording of it from, like, pretty far away from the bridge. Like, it's, like, across the water on, like, piece of land.
That is magical.
Yeah.
This is magical.
Yeah, that was posted by Chili Briano on Twitter. It reminds me of the glass harmonica. Have you ever heard about that? This is a whole
glass
thing
harmonica.
in and
No,
of
I haven't.
itself. Okay, so do you know the opera Lucia?
Vaguely.
Okay, so Lucia is this really dramatic opera. I would recommend it to everyone, even non-opera goers, about this woman who goes crazy. Well, that's not actually a very nice way to say it, but
We need to be more sensitive.
yeah,
on this podcast.
yeah. Sorry, everyone. I really mean that. So yeah, she gets married and she like has a mental breakdown, and I think no spoilers, but I don't know. There's blood on her wedding gown, and one of the defining things about Lucia is that it has the glass harmonica in it, and
Okay.
It sounds exactly like that. And the reason is because the glass harmonica, if I'm not mistaken, had lead. It was lead glass, I guess.
Oh.
And the people that played it would go mad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. So it doesn't have lead in it anymore, but it has a connotation of madness.
That's wild.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what it reminds me of.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. So that's my story. And oh, wait. Local officials say they won't be able to fix the problem unless or until the next time they have to renovate the bridge. And then one politician said, "The Golden Gate Bridge has started to sing." And then he said, "The new musical tones coming from the bridge are a known and inevitable phenomenon that stem from our wind retrofit during very high winds." So it sounds like they knew that was going to happen and they did it anyway. But he's very perky about it. Yeah.
I love it because it's so like strange and mysterious, but also like we know what it is. So it's not like, oh my gosh, the Golden Gate Bridge is haunted now and we don't know what's going on. But it's like, it speaks to us.
Yes.
But, you know,
yes.
like, ooh, that just gives me chills and it makes me excited. The bridge is singing. That's very exciting.
Well,
okay, well...
Yeah, tell me what's going on with you.
Yeah, so that actually kind of... I feel like it kind of ties in. It feels similar to my first thing that I want to talk about. Okay. So as our listeners may be able to hear, I have my window open, so I'm not sure if you can hear the birds.
I did before.
But we're also... Yeah, you could before. Maybe you'll be able to hear them.
I hear them.
A little bit. So Sarah and I are recording early in the morning on a Saturday. It's 7:41, so kind of early. But I woke up and I was like, oh, you're going to be able to hear the birds in the recording. Like, I wonder if I should do something about that. And I was like, no, I'll leave it. It'll be like nice ambiance.
Yeah, like Snow White.
Yeah. And it reminded me of something that a little factoid that I picked up along the way.
Ooh.
Which is about Halitherses, who is a character in the Odyssey. Oh. And he just has like a little cameo appearance. And his epithet is keenest among the old at reading bird flight into accurate speech.
Ooh.
And I thought that's just something that, like, I read it in a book. I actually didn't, because I've read the Odyssey, but that was back in high school.
Yeah.
And I came across this information in probably my favorite book that I read in 2019, which is Lands of Lost Borders by Kate Harris. Highly recommend. So today we're recommending to you an opera and a book. I can't wait to watch the opera because it sounds fantastic.
It's great.
But yes, so favorite book that I read in 2019 about this writer, poet, scientist who bikes across, she does the Silk Road. And so, like, craziness. Definitely read the book. But I love the sentence that she's biking in the middle of some country in the Middle East, and she goes, I thought of Halitherses. I cannot pronounce that. I should have practiced.
It's okay.
Thought of Halitherses, the elderly soothsayer in the Odyssey, who boasted the unimprovable epithet of keenest among the old at reading bird flight into accurate speech. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so good.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so I was like, that's great. I have to mention this on the podcast. And so I looked it up, and this actually refers to the practice known as augury. And it is an ancient Roman religion, divination kind of thing of actually, like, reading birds' flight and making predictions based on it. But the most fascinating thing about this is that it is, like, so much more ancient than classical Rome itself. Like, by the time the classical Romans were mentioning this, it had already been around for a millennium.
Wow.
So they figure the earliest date that I saw was 14,000 BCE.
Wow.
Yeah, so super ancient, which I was like, that's so cool because I'm obsessed with really, really old things. And then I also found some fun word history. So augury is, like I said, this practice of reading bird flight. But then if someone is doing that, they are known as an augur. And when they're interpreting, it's referred to as taking the auspices. So from that, we get auspicious. So when you say something is an auspicious occasion, it comes from this ancient practice of reading bird flight.
What?
I know. So, like, that's so cool. So auspicious. Also, I don't know if I was aware of this, but there's also inauspicious. So, like, you can have an inauspicious occasion.
Okay.
If it's not looking like things are going to go well.
How embarrassing.
How embarrassing. Inauspicious. So I thought that was really fascinating. But the other thing that just, like, captured my imagination about this was I loved, like, when I first read about this epithet, I wanted it to be, like, not even an old practice, but just, like, oh, there's this one old guy who, like, reads bird flight into speech. Like, we don't know why he does that. But I was thinking of, so as you all know from various podcast introductions, I'm an artist and metalsmith, but artist is, like, so much a part of the core of my being. And I always am kind of like, I have to get upset with people if they say I can't draw, because I'm like, everyone can draw. You can draw.
Yes.
And so, and that partially comes from one of my printmaking professors, actually the one and only, Jack McCaslin, printmaking professor at JMU. Shout out to Jack. Wonderful human. And he had the same rant, like the very first day of printmaking class. He would say, like, oh, some people come in here and they're like, I can't draw. And he's like, nonsense. And he would talk about, and I think about this all the time, but he would always talk about the fact that, like, we think of drawing in such a limited capacity of pencil and paper and drawing a picture of a thing. But he was like, if you lay down a piece of string on a table, that can be drawing. And just talking about all of the different forms of drawing, alternative drawing styles. And, like, one of his students was making these kind of, like, helmet prints out of, so you use copper for intaglio printing, and you etch the copper and then press it into the paper with the ink in it.
Wow.
And so he would cut out the copper, and then as part of something that Jack was kind of suggested, I think, he had him, like, go out and just, like, throw the copper down on the sidewalk and, like, jump on it, scrape it, and try and just, like, scrape it up as much as he could. And Jack was like, that's drawing. And so I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about reading Bird Flight and about bird flight being a drawing. Like this drawing in the sky. And so now I want to go out and read some Bird Flight into drawings.
That is so cool. I love that idea.
Yeah, drawing. And Halothurstes.
Wow. You know, that's something I think about a lot, is like, why do birds fly? Like, in general, but also like in the patterns that they fly in. Like, yes, they fly to like get food and build their nest and do the things they have to do, but sometimes they're just like doing circles.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, like, is it like a pleasurable thing? Like, is it fun? I don't know.
I hope so.
Yeah, maybe that's why they're doing it. I don't know.
What a question. Like, do animals have a concept of fun? I think they have to.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you look at dogs, obviously.
Yes, right.
Dogs have to play.
Right. But birds,
So-
that hadn't occurred to me before, that birds have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, that is so cool. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. What you got? What's
Okay.
your next thing?
Well, about 10 years ago.
Good start.
Yeah. This guy named Forrest Fenn, which is a great name. He had cancer and he wanted to leave a legacy for himself.
Okay.
So he buried a treasure chest and left clues on his website, and he had an autobiography, and he left some clues in a poem in his autobiography.
Ooh.
And so the treasure chest had, and this is quoted from Fox News, pre-Columbian animal figures, gold nuggets, coins, Chinese jade vases, emerald rings, and, you know, gold jewels, etc. Those kinds of things. And so, guess how many people went looking for it?
Thousands.
Yeah.
No. Like 1,000.
More.
Okay, thousands. Okay. Like 3,000?
Like 350,000 people.
What?
According to Fenn. Maybe he's a liar, but that's what he says.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's still alive then?
So yes. So
Okay.
he ended up not dying.
Okay. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler. And so anyway, all these people went looking. Some of them quit their jobs. Some of them apparently actually died looking for it. Yeah.
The twist! Oh my gosh.
But anyway,
That's crazy.
someone anonymous found the treasure. We don't know who it was, but Fenn has posted on his website that somebody found it. It was in the Rocky Mountains in New Mexico. And yeah, Fenn survived, and he's still alive, and now some anonymous person has his treasure. So,
Wow.
What a way to leave a legacy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's I don't even know where to start on that. Like I feel weird about like it's kind of the detail that keeps presenting itself to me is this concept that he thought he was going to die,
And
so he
then he
wanted to
didn't.
leave a legacy, but then his legacy like caused other people to die.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Does does he feel bad about that? Like, but
Unknown.
also, like, exploring and hiking and all of that, like, it is dangerous.
Yeah, right. You shouldn't do it if you're not prepared.
If you're gonna quit your job to become a professional treasure hunter,
Yeah.
surely you've seen enough movies to know that it's not gonna be all sunshine
Booby
and
traps,
Yeah.
curses. You know, this was actually suggested to me as a real suggestion when I was a senior in college. Nick, the guy I was dating, he was obsessed with buried treasure, and he was like, let's just quit our jobs and go to Mexico. We can figure out because a bunch of people have actually hidden buried treasure over the years.
Yeah.
Like, we got a lot of theatrical people who have,
Right.
seen movies. They're like, that's what I want to be known for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people
Sweet.
really, like, dedicate their lives to hunting for treasure. This one was worth $1 million or more,
Wow.
apparently. But, yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That is one of those details that, like, makes the world that we live on more interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, there are all these little hidden treasure chests all over the world, like, in deserts and even, like, attics and stuff. The things unearthed above ground. Mm-hmm. You could call yourself an above ground archaeologist if you just, like, went around and, like, explored abandoned attics and found treasure.
Ooh, what if that was a profession? Like, I'm a professional attic archivist.
I'm a professional above ground archaeologist.
I love
There
it.
you go.
I love it.
I always wanted to be an archaeologist when I was a kid.
Me too.
Actually, I wanted to be a paleontologist, but I didn't know the difference at the time, so.
There were lots of things I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And that's what makes adulthood so hard, because you have to pick one.
You have to pick one. You have to
What
focus
the
on
heck?
only one thing.
It's not fair.
Oh. Man.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Well, now that our world is a little more mystical, do you want to hear about my favorite condiment?
I do, actually.
I think you already know which condiment it is.
I do. It's Sriracha.
Yes. Listeners, I am obsessed with Sriracha. I'm obsessed with spicy food, but Sriracha is the pinnacle of spicy food. Mm-hmm. It is the perfect flavor. Some spicy foods are, like, some hot sauces just have the wrong flavor to me. Like, if you could take away all of the, like, hotness of it and taste only the flavor, I don't love the flavor.
I know exactly what you mean.
So, yes, Sriracha is the best. No questions asked.
We're not sponsored by Sriracha.
We're not sponsored by Sriracha. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I learned that I think is so fascinating. No one is sponsored by Sriracha.
What? That's actually what it was?
Yes. Sriracha has never spent any money on sales. Like, they have never advertised their products at all.
What?
Nor do they employ a single salesperson.
Oh my gosh.
Like, in the massive industry that is Sriracha, like, never once have they employed a single salesperson.
Wow. Wow.
So, all of Sriracha's success is based solely on word of mouth.
Wow.
And on the actual quality of the product itself.
That's insane.
Isn't that insane?
Whoa, what respect.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
And it actually made me think back to, like, the first time I ever even heard of Sriracha.
Uh-huh.
And it was in high school, and one of my best friends, we were having, like, a taco night.
Uh-huh.
And she brought a bottle, and she was like, you have to try this, it's so good. And I was an instant convert, but I remember
That's so
the first time I
funny.
tried it. And it was because another person was like, try this stuff, it's really good.
That's so funny. I know the first time I heard of Sriracha was you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't remember what you were putting it on, but you put it on a lot of things. And I might have been skeptical at first because it was like, Sriracha on, I don't know, bread pudding.
I don't think I ever put it on bread pudding. But I would eat it at breakfast, like, every day at D Hall.
What good times.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
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 Because I would have my eggs scrambled. They always had scrambled eggs, and then I would have biscuits and gravy, and then, like, potatoes, and then I put Sriracha all over the scrambled eggs.
Really good.
And that was my D Hall breakfast, my
Nice.
go-to D Hall breakfast.
Nice.
It was so good.
Awesome.
But yeah. Wow, I love that you heard of Sriracha from me. I'm glad to be that person for you. So, yeah, it's just purely an exceptional product, and they
Wow.
never have needed to advertise.
Wow.
So I thought that was wild.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Okay. Should I do mine?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, you know how a couple months ago distilleries started making hand sanitizer? Did you know that when we had a shortage a couple months ago? Yeah, so when the pandemic started, there was a shortage of hand sanitizer. A lot of people jumped in and started making them, including like alcohol makers, because they could easily use their ingredients to make hand sanitizer. And so that was so nice. There was a lot of attention on their humanitarian efforts, and I thought, that's so nice. How could that possibly go wrong? And so I actually, you know, when this started, I was like, they better be careful. Well, a distillery in Australia mistakenly sold 9 bottles of hand sanitizer in SS Casino gin bottles last weekend.
Oh, no.
A spokesman said consumption of the product may have side effects of nausea, headaches, dizziness, bloating, vomiting, thirst, and diarrhea.
Oh, no.
Which is not what you're looking for in a bottle of gin.
Not what you're looking for in a bottle of gin.
But here's the amazing part. They were actually able to, they put out a recall and actually recovered all of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
And so that's from a website called UPI, and I knew that was going to happen. It had to happen. Law of averages.
I love that you were sitting there like, that's so nice. How could it possibly go wrong? Oh, this is a foolproof plan. Airtight. No pun intended. Oh, no.
Yeah. So that's my story.
Wow.
Short and sweet.
Wonderful. I'm glad to know that. I also had somehow missed that they were doing that, so I'm glad to know that as well.
But it seems like now hand sanitizer is like not in a shortage anymore, because I've seen it at like the grocery store and stuff.
Yeah, that's the sure sign. It's funny. Like these days we can actually like get some semblance of actual news just by walking down the grocery store aisles, like seeing what is in stock, being like, oh, I guess society is like returning to normal. Right. We have hand sanitizer.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Cool. Well, would you like to hear about another substance that you might possibly drink?
Yes. Hold on 1 second. My computer's about to die.
Oh no! Plug it in.
Yes, Hattie. Oh, sorry.
Have you restored the lifeblood to your computer?
I have. Thank you.
Oh, good.
Okay. Yes, Hattie, I would love to hear about your substance.
Yes, another substance that you might potentially drink.
Okay.
So, Sarah,
Hattie.
I would like to tell you about a magical alien creature that has graced this earth with its presence.
Oh my gosh.
The more I read about this, the more I was just like completely captivated by how strange and wonderful, like mystical this all sounds. Okay. How do you feel about the phrase cockroach milk?
Ew.
Same. I mean, yeah, that's like the natural response. So, as it turns out, most cockroaches lay eggs to make little cockroaches, but there is one species, the Pacific beetle roach, native to Hawaii, which actually births living baby cockroaches, okay?
Okay.
Interesting thing in and of itself. Like, all cockroaches lay eggs, but this one doesn't.
Huh.
And so as such, it actually feeds its young this milk, like cockroach milk. It's like this pale, it's described as a pale yellow liquid.
Okay.
That it feeds to its baby cockroaches. And scientists studied some of this milk, and they found out that it actually is 3 times more rich of a source of protein, calcium, and calories than buffalo milk.
Okay.
Which up to this point has been considered the most like nutrient-rich source of milk on the planet.
Huh.
Fun fact.
Wow.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, me
Buffalo
either.
milk was like the highest in both protein and calcium together.
Okay.
And cockroach milk, this pale yellow cockroach milk, is 3 times
Wow.
the protein, calcium, and calories of buffalo milk.
This is going to be the next weird health trend.
And that's the thing. That's the thing that all of these, like, articles are like, could we all be drinking cockroach milk? Like, this might be the next superfood.
Wow.
And then this is the part where I'm like, wait, this is so weird and bizarre and strange and fascinating. But, like, if you open up one of these little embryonic cockroaches that has been drinking this milk, the milk actually, like, turns into crystals inside their stomach.
What?
Like, it crystallizes.
But why?
I don't know. But it's just, like, so strange and, like, it just sounds like science fiction.
Yeah.
Like, these crystals.
Wow.
And apparently it looks like if you open up one of these cockroaches, it just looks like glitter. Like, it's just, they're just, like, full of glitter.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that just, like, mysterious and wonderful?
I love it.
I know. So,
oh my gosh.
most nutritious substance on the planet turns into crystals inside of these baby cockroaches, which must be a metaphor for something. I'm not sure. I'll figure that out later.
I think you should make some, like, art or some illustration about this.
I think I have to, actually. Ever since I learned this, I'm like, I need to draw things about cockroaches and crystals. And, like, oh, it's so weird.
Wow.
Yeah, so fascinating. But then, of course, like, these articles are like, could this be the next superfood? And then every article eventually, like, towards the end points out that, like, it's not super feasible to milk a cockroach. Like one article is like, well, they don't have udders or nipples or anything. Like, you can't really milk them.
How does it come out?
Yeah, so one researcher, actually the researcher who first started discovering this, Barbara Stay, professor emerita at University of Iowa, she was able to extract the milk in either liquid or crystal form through a process that she calls milking a cockroach. But basically she was able to put like filter paper into the brood sac and just leave it in there. And then after a while she would take the filter paper out and it would have like a little bit of cockroach milk in it. So she was able to extract some, and that's how they were able to study it and figure out the nutrients. But if you're like using like these tiny, if you're getting less than a teaspoon at a time, you also have to think of the size of cockroaches versus the size of humans.
Yeah.
Like, how many cockroaches would you have to milk to drink a glass of milk? Like, that's ridiculous.
The ultimate luxury.
I know. It's like
I wonder
indigo
how much it
dye.
would cost. Yeah.
Dude, seriously.
Imagine that being your job. Like, hi, honey,
Milking
just got home
cockroach.
from milking a cockroach.
Oh, no. Yeah, that would be something.
Yeah.
Just because the amount of reward that you show for your efforts would be so little. But yeah, so she was able to figure out how to actually extract some of the milk. But obviously it wouldn't be feasible to actually like milk a bunch of cockroaches to get yourself a half a gallon of cockroach milk.
Yeah.
But what they're trying to do is use genetic engineering to duplicate, mimic this cockroach milk, which is interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, a professor, actually adjunct professor at the same college, University of Iowa, Ramaswamy Subramanian. I apologize for not being able to pronounce his name.
Effort.
Yeah, you know. But he's working on genetically engineering yeast, which you can raise quickly and easily, and thinking that maybe they'll be able to produce the same milk as these cockroaches. So, fascinating.
Wow. I'm fascinated.
Yeah. But one of the researchers actually did taste some of the cockroach milk and reported that it was pretty tasteless.
Okay.
And guessed that you could probably use it in coffee because it probably wouldn't affect the taste of it.
Okay.
But other researchers pointed out that, like, they haven't actually proven that humans can consume this substance. So.
Wow.
But I still thought that it was
There's
mystical.
so much there.
And fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, and By the way, side note, at the very end of one of these articles, by the way, scientists think that the gene structure of this particular cockroach might be able to cure cancer. That's all. Thanks. It's just like a little sub-note at the end. They were like, oh, they think they might be able to use this cockroach to cure cancer. I'm like, wait, what? So.
Okay.
Who knows?
Wow.
Keep an eye out. We could have either a cure for cancer or a very nutritious superfood of some kind.
Wow. That's amazing.
In the near or distant future.
That's
thanks
amazing.
to cockroaches.
Huh.
Yeah. So, all the weird things.
That's amazing.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, should we move on to our bizarre and banal segment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think we should.
So, nothing bizarre really happens to me anymore because because I'm working from home.
Stranded inside your house.
Yeah. Which I guess is bizarre in and of itself.
Yeah.
But I also love it. I'm such a homebody. But anyway, without any transportation tales from the subways of New York City, I thought I would tell you about an article that I wrote this week for Yahoo Finance because I was really excited about it. This organization, this nonprofit, requested internal documents from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. They got like 150 pages of like emails, internal memos, like all kinds of correspondence from Housing and Urban Development about whether or not dreamers qualify for special loans. So defining some terms.
Yeah.
Dreamers, do you know what those are like? They grew up in the U.S. without documentation and are kind of considered to be like, it wasn't really their fault. Like, they came here as children. They were brought here. And so they're granted deferred deportation, and they also get work permits. And that Obama made that happen in 2012. And they're trying to end that program, which might happen later this month. We'll see. But there has been a lot of confusion as to whether they qualify. Wow, I don't know. Is this a really boring story?
No.
Okay, whether they qualify for special mortgages. There are special mortgages out there that are. You don't need as big of a down payment. You don't need as high of a credit score. It's meant to like help people get homes. And so the bizarre part is that people had been lending them to dreamers. Dreamers have been getting it. Wells Fargo told me that they had given loans to dreamers. Like lenders just thought that they were allowed to. And then in 2018. Like a mid-level HUD employee mentioned at a conference or like a call or something, like, oh yeah, you can't do that. And everyone was like so surprised. And so they started emailing the department being like, wait, what? And asking, like, can you put out something official about this? Because the people that happened to hear it had to stop lending to dreamers, but
a bunch
of people
that weren't there,
and so they were like, hey, that's not fair, and so employees at Housing and Urban Development wrote up an FAQ, frequently asked questions, about it to try to make a official public policy, and emailed their supervisor for a year and a half trying to get approval. And like you can see in the emails, this is what was so cool, getting to read like 150 pages of emails over the course of a year and a half, where they're like, hey, just waiting on approval. Hey, did you get to look at this? And eventually one of them says, it wouldn't be private if she would just post the freaking DACA FAQ. I just thought that was really funny. And so then Ben Carson, who's the secretary of, he's like the head of Housing and Urban Development, he went and told Congress that DACA recipients were eligible. And so
then like this year and a half of sending emails, they're like, well, why have we been doing this?
Yeah. And so then everyone was very confused. And then people were like, wait, he lied to Congress? It's like a huge mess. Yeah. So I spent all week reading other people's emails, which was super fun because I'm very nosy. And yeah, it got published. And the funny thing is, like, everyone's assuming, all the commenters are, like, assuming that I'm promoting DACA recipients, dreamers getting these loans. I'm like, the point of the article is just that this is mass chaos.
I'm just reporting on chaos.
Yeah, because I think, you know, the glorification of chaos. It's what I do. So anyway,
you should change your job title.
Yes.
Sarah Painter, wait, how would you put
guess
that?
Glorifier?
Glorifier, yes. Glorificator, that's not
yes,
really, no.
Better.
Glorificator of chaos. Keenest among the old, reading bird flight dagger speech. Keenest among the young of glorifying chaos.
Yes. So, yeah. I hope we find out why, you know, what went wrong here.
What went wrong? How did this happen? What have we done? Wow.
But anyway, what's bizarre in your life? You're going to work. Maybe you're still having bizarre circumstances.
Yeah. I don't think I have any bizarre stories from work.
Uh-huh.
Although the other day someone did bring in a chain that they had lead soldered themselves.
Uh-huh.
So it had lead all melted in it, and they were like, can you take off the lead solder and solder it back together? And both me and the other metalsmith were like, we don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to work with lead. Because you have to, like, melt it and then wipe it off.
Yeah,
and I'm just like,
right.
The things that people do to their jewelry, and they're like, can you fix this?
Like, why?
It's like, they just, like, once I had a ring come in where someone had been, and from what I could tell, the person was fine, but they had been electrocuted. There was an electrician, and they had been, like, electrocuted while they were wearing this gold ring, and the ring was, like, melted and broken, and, like, it looked like the ring had basically been, like, struck by lightning. Like, it was insane that what it had done to the metal. It was crazy, and they were like, and then it was my job to fix it, which was actually really fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, but no, the thing that I actually wanted to talk about for my bizarre and banal was, so I tried to research this, and because I feel like I've heard a word for it. Anyways, I'll tell you what it is. So I like to go on lots of walks, and I'm in Central Virginia, so I have a lot of trees near where I am, and sometimes I'll just go, like, wander into the woods and be in the woods.
Because you're a woodland creature.
Because I'm a woodland creature.
Yeah.
Exactly. And one of the things that I noticed, and I'm sure you've probably noticed this too, but, like, sometimes there will be like one or two leaves that are, like, moving, and it looks like they're moving by themselves. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Maybe, yeah.
But it genuinely, like, it looks like there's an invisible fairy standing on this leaf and, like, jumping. Because these leaves there will be, like, the regular wind patterns, but then there will be these leaves that just, like, wiggle by themselves.
Wiggle.
And, yeah, and so it's, like, I'm sure that scientifically it has to do with, like, the complexity of the angles that all the leaves are pointing, and they're somehow, like, sending this one stream of wind at these leaves. But I feel like I read about this or heard about this, like, years ago, and I think that there's a word for it, but I couldn't find it in any research. So I'm sharing it with you in the hope that either you or one of our listeners can tell me what that word is, because I want to know. But, yeah, and all of my Googling, I was like, leaves moving, and then it was, like, the most ridiculous articles that, like, were not helpful at all. It was, like, trees with weird leaves that move. And there are plants, like there are the ferns where if you touch them, the leaves like curl up. Have you ever seen those?
Yeah.
Oh, they're so fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if anyone knows, but there might be little fairies in my woods that
Oh my
wave
gosh.
to me. So, because I see it all the time now. Like, I noticed it a couple months ago, and now that it's kind of one of those things where, like, once you notice something, it keeps coming up.
Yeah.
And so I'll always look and see, like, 2 leaves that are just, like, moving by themselves.
Huh.
So,
I'll have to keep an eye out.
keep an eye out.
When I was little, fairies were a very big part of my worldview.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Even still, you know? But that definitely, that checks out.
Yeah.
I can see you
Yeah.
communing with fairies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
is that the end of our episode?
I think that's all we've got for today. Got
Okay.
lots of strange and mysterious things.
Yeah. Well, thanks,
But it's
listeners,
quite fun.
for listening. How do you end an episode?
Send us an email if
Yeah.
you want.
To contact@theabsurdistpodcast.com. Special thanks to our producer, Ryan Kerr, at Ryan Kerr Media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we hope you have a bizarre and wonderful and magical week.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.